Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at the top 10 cards from Temporal Forces. Pre-releases have started, the set is coming soon, we need to look at which cards are the best. Now I have had a look at all the results coming out of Japan, because they are of course playing with the cards that are in Temporal Forces right now, have been for a few weeks, but I'm also looking at future potential, how much I like the cards, etc. Mashed it all together, got a top 10. There are a couple of honourable mentions though that I do just want to shout out here, including Eri. Eri is cool. Eri is a very nice card. By the way, I'm using whatever scans are available. We're in that period where the full set list official scans aren't out yet. So we're going to mix and match scans and pictures I've taken, and we're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. But Eri here, you look at your opponent's hand and discard 2 item cards. It's fine. It's not going to work in everything, but in some decks like Snorlax, for instance, it is a very good deck. It's popping up in deck lists here and there. It's a decent card. So for that reason, it gets its way close to the list, but not quite on. The other one that comes close but not quite is Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. This is the one that lets you just go and search for a couple of cards and leave them on top of your deck, which is clearly a very, very nice card, but it's not quite seeing enough play everywhere. But make no mistake about it, you leave any 2 cards on top of your deck that you like, and then any draw power goes and draws you those 2 cards. This is another one that might not be a staple in every deck, but just to be clear, it's very, very good. But in at number 10, we've got Emergency Board. This is one of those where it's not really some big fancy card from the set. It's not the one that everyone's desperate to pull, but I'm telling you right now, it is popping up in deck after deck after deck after deck. It is coming up everywhere. And basically, it reduces your retreat cost by 1, but a Pokemon that's got 30 HP or less remaining gets free retreat, which is obviously brilliant. So yeah, helps you to retreat. Is it the best retreat card we've ever had? No! Not even close. It's garbage compared to Floatstone. But you know what? Floatstone's not in the format right now. This is, and that's why it gets on the list. In at number 9, we've got Raging Bolt EX. This is one of my favourite cards from the set. As it stands at the moment, it is having success in Japan, but it's not crushing like I and others were hoping. Single energy, discard your hand, draw 6 cards. It's a single colourless energy on a basic Pokemon. It is great. Turn 1 going second if you're having trouble setting up. You've then got Bellowing Thunder, which lets you discard any number of basic energy from your Pokemon and deal 70 damage for each card you discarded in this way. And of course, you combine this with Sandy Shock CX that gets a bunch of energy on, and you are ready to go. Obviously, Professor Sada's Vitality becomes a great card here as well. Get that energy on, do big smashing, profit. Sounds like a plan to me, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds like a plan to me. In at number 8, I am delighted to say it's Great Tusk. Now, I'm having to group a bunch of cards together on this list to bring it down to a top 10, and also because there are some I don't think you can separate. And although we're going to be talking about single prize ancient Pokemon later, Great Tusk deserves to be on this list on its own merit. One of my favourite things about Temporal Forces is the idea that Great Tusk is actually like a legitimate card. It is baffling to me, absolutely baffling to me, that Great Tusk is actually like a legitimate card. It's a legitimate deck that is doing well over in Japan. I don't understand it. It is weird to me, and I absolutely love it. It's brilliant and awesome and amazing. What we got from Great Tusk is an attack for 2 colourless energy that just lets you discard the top card of your opponent's deck. But if you played an ancient supporter card from your hand this turn, you instead get to discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Oh, cool. It's a mill deck. And I honestly, genuinely did not see this coming. I did not think this was going to be a good enough card. I didn't think it was going to see enough play. I just didn't think it was going to work. And yet all the results coming out of Japan are telling us that no, this does actually work. It's a legit mill deck, and I love it. In at number 7, we've got the combination of, well, the Future and Ancient Ace Spec, Reboot Pod, and Awakening Drum. Yeah, I kind of have to put these two together because basically they are the same kind of card. So we've got Reboot Pod, which is a card actually officially revealed. I'm delighted about this, which is for future decks and lets you attach 1 energy from your discard pile to each of your future Pokemon. It is an absolute must play in future decks. Great energy acceleration. And Awakening Drum is the one that lets you draw 1 card for each of your ancient Pokemon in play, which is a must play in ancient decks. So both of them are decent ace specs that are very specifically for ancient or future decks only, and for that reason, yeah, I think you put them together and you put them in at number 7. In at number 6, we've got the combination of Miraidon and Iron Crown, and again, I don't think you can really split these two cards up. These are basically the cards what make future decks work. And when we get this set, future decks will work because you've got Miraidon that for a single colorless energy lets you do 40 damage while accelerating energy from your deck. Early KOs, early damage, energy on the board, jobs are good 'un. And then Iron Crown EX, which says that all of your future Pokemon do an extra 20 damage. Bearing in mind you've also got Future Boost Energy Capsule, so either 2 Iron Crown or 1 Iron Crown and 1 Future Boost Energy Capsule, and all of a sudden Miraidon's doing 80, which is the magic number to be getting KOs on evolving Pokemon and support Pokemon. And then all of a sudden you are absolutely laughing. These two cards have to be paired together on my list because they are the pair of cards that take future decks from okay to okay. In at number 5, we got a weird pairing, but I have to pair them and I'll explain why in a minute. Chinchino and Master Ball. Yeah. We have to pair up Chinchino and Master Ball here. And incidentally, I think we do. We legitimately do have to pair up Chinchino and Master Ball. Because these are the two cards that make Lugia work again. We saw Lugia win the Champions League over in Japan. And the reason it won the Champions League in Japan is because with this set, Temporal Forces, it becomes a million times better. And the reason it becomes a million times better is because of Chinchino and Master Ball. You see, we've had Lugia be good since Silver Tempest came out. There was a long time where you either played Lugia or you had no realistic shot of winning the tournament. Lugia was that good. And then it got a bit inconsistent when we rotated and it became a bit of a pain. Well, you really need to be searching out your Pokemon, get your Archeops, get them in the discard, etc. And Master Ball helps you set up. Master Ball makes this deck way more consistent than it was before. That's a very, very big deal. Then you've got Chinchino as your extra attacker, and Chinchino does 70 damage for each special energy that is attached to the Pokemon. Oh, hang on a second. So now, if I've got 2 Archeops out, I'm doing a guaranteed 280, which gets basically everything except stage 2 EXs. And then if I attach a special energy from my hand, I've got 5 and that's 350, and I'm one-hit KOing literally anything. Yeah, that's why it got so good. In at number 4, we've got Ancient Single Prizes. I've got a trio here. We've got Roaring Moon, we've got Fluttermane, and we have got Koraidon. And once again, I really do think that this is one of those where they are a trio, and I do think you have to treat them as a trio and treat them all together. Because basically what we've got here are 3 cards that are ancient Pokemon, that are single prizes, that make up a deck, and that are very, very good. You've got Koraidon that for 2 energy does 30 damage for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. And because we've got Professor Sada's Vitality, that's a legit turn 1 going second attack, which is brilliant. We've got Roaring Moon that does 70 damage plus 10 for each ancient card in your discard pile. Does not have to be a Pokemon, any ancient card will do. And that's going to add up very, very quickly, which is kind of brilliant. And then you've got Flutter Mane, and if that's active, your opponent's active doesn't have any abilities. And you add them all together, and you've got a really good suite of attackers. But whereas something like Great Tusk is a deck in and of itself, but it also happens to be teched in. You know, most of these single prizes will play at least one Great Tusk. One seems to be standard. We see that these cards don't really exist without each other. You kind of need the trio. Although I really like playing an aggro version without Flutter Mane, if I'm honest. But they are a trio, and they go together at number 4. In at number 3, we've got Maximum Belt and Hero's Cape. And I'm telling you right now, again, these aren't the same card, but I think they're similar enough, and the role they serve is similar enough, that they do deserve to be put together. Basically, what we've got here is you got Maximum Belt, which says you do an extra 50 damage to EXs. Yay. And you got Hero's Cape that gives you 100 and more HP. Yay. And, you know, Giratina is going to use Maximum Belt to go from 280 up to 330, which goes from not KOing something like a Charizard to KOing something like a Charizard. Whereas something like Great Tusk is going to play Hero's Cape, because what you really want to do is sit in the active, survive for as long as you can, and mill your opponent. And if this Great Cape means they need one more attack to win, that's one more turn to win, that's one more turn of you milling. And remember, when you're milling, it's not just one extra turn means 3 more cards, it's those 3 cards could be the thing that stops your opponent setting up. It could be that you get 3 extra cards on the right turn that your opponent isn't able to get anything going, and then they lose. So, no, these are not the same card, and I'm not for a second suggesting they are. Most decks aren't saying, ooh, should I go for Maximum Belt or should I go for Hero's Cape? But I am saying they are similar cards in terms of what they provide to the decks they are going for, and that's why I feel comfortable putting them in at number 3. And the good news is I'm done combining numbers here. In at number 2, we've got Buddy Buddy Poffins. Not the most exciting card from the set, not by a long shot. But I'll tell you right now, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So we kind of need to take this seriously. You search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less, whack them on your bench, shuffle your deck. No, it is not a great replacement for Battle VIP Pass, which is rotating as this comes out. But it is the best we've got. If you look through Japanese deck lists at the moment, a lot of them are playing Buddy Buddy Poffins. It is everywhere. It is huge. And honestly, you could make a strong argument for this being number 1, just for the consistency boost it gives and the sheer number of decks to which it gives it. But in at number 1, I'm putting Prime Catcher. And I feel pretty good about this. Prime Catcher is Guzma, but as an item card. And Guzma was phenomenal when it was a supporter card. Now you make it into an item card, and it's kind of dumb good. It's phenomenal. You drag one of your opponent's bench Pokemon active, and then you switch as well. It is the best A-Spec by a mile. It is the most impactful A-Spec by a mile. And I've already shown you, a lot of the other A-Specs are good. Like, legitimately, we see Awakening Drum and Reboot Pod basically playing in Ancient and Future decks. You kind of have to play them. And then we see that Hero's Cape and Maximum Bout see a lot of play in a bunch of different decks. And then we see Master Ball only sees play in Lugia, but still it's great in Lugia. Prime Catcher is not the only viable A-Spec, but it is the best A-Spec. And I do believe it is the most impactful A-Spec. And I am putting it number 1 on this list. Like I say, I think the only other real contender for number 1 will be Buddy Buddy Poffins. If you want to switch 1 and 2 around, I'm not going to be terribly upset. But you know what? I like my list, and now it's over to you guys. As always, it would be amazing if you want to do a full top 10 list in the comment section. But just remember, you can't just put cards up and put cards down. You need to tell me what's going up or down in their place. For now, go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokémon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Danger Morales, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.